As men, how do we look within? How do we lead and love if we never saw examples of masculinity that didn't have toxicity associated with it? I want to talk about the signs, the symptoms, and even the struggles of the toxic male. I'm mic'd up. Join me. Let's mix it up. Good people, family, how you doing? How you living? How's it going? What's happening? I hope you are doing well. Come on, hit the thumbs up button on this live. We're changing lives. We're transforming lives. Hit the thumbs up on this live. Family, we're talking about Tales of the Toxic Male, Part 2. Yeah, I got to roll my sleeves up so I can make it do what it do. Because we got some work to do. Tales of the Toxic Male Part 2. Dealing with the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles of the toxic male. Family, we took a deep dive last time into this. And here it is. It'll be nothing less than that. I told you last time that some of the signs, symptoms, and struggles of the toxic male is that he shuns vulnerability because of his fragility. That was number one. Shunning vulnerability because of his fragility. And really, when we'll really be honest about it as men, we really are fragile. We really have a fragile do not drop label in our lives. We're really trying to tightrope, and we find it tough to tightrope toughness and tenderness. And so it becomes a little deleterious sometimes, trying to navigate the rough terrains, the uncharted waters, the uncharted territory, due to our fragility. And here's what we have to do. We have to embrace that, because it is a portal to our vulnerability. Secondly, I mentioned that, talking about the signs, symptoms, and struggles of the toxic male, intimacy is only sexual, not intellectual. And here's what society does. Society places more emphasis on a man's brawn than his brain. You don't believe me? Let's do a dichotomy. Let's do a comparison and contrast. How many men in the gym versus how many men in the library? I'll wait. You're going to find more men in the gym than you will in the mental gym. Because society says it's about your abs, it's about your pectoral muscles, it's about your biceps and your triceps. But not about your right brain or your left brain. Not about, here it is, your medulla oblongata. Not about your cerebrum. Not about your cerebellum. Not about the aspects of your mind and how you feed your mentality. Only your body. And so, here it is. Intimacy moves into a place of that which is more sexual than intellectual, if at all. But real intimacy, as I said before, is intimacy. Allowing somebody to see into you. Allowing that person to be seen as well. As men, really one of our ardent clarion calls and cries is to be seen, is to be heard, is to be valued. It is to be respected. And oftentimes, due to unresolved trauma, it creates a barrier. Due to unresolved trauma, and because oftentimes many of our young guys, many of our boys were exposed to pornography through an uncle, through a father, through a grandfather, through a video that sat around the house, through a magazine that you may have seen. And now it becomes a portal to pain. When you remove that mask, you're able to heal, and you're able to really move into a place of real intimacy through the lens of vulnerability. Let's go to number 3. Family, type ready if you're ready. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Signs, symptoms, struggles of the toxic male. Number 3, the kid trapped in the king. The kid trapped in the king. Within every king is a lion. Within every man is a lion and a lamb. Within every man is a kid and a king. Tragedy is to have the kid trapped in the king. I realize this. Pressure does not always make diamonds. Sometimes pressure bursts pipes. And here's the thing. Even when words become war wounds, what we must not do is we must not neglect. But here's what we must do. We must protect our loved ones while honoring our emotional intelligence. There's a kid in every king. Sometimes there's a broken boy in every man. And as men, we need mentors. As men, we need advocates to arrest our attention so that we can focus on our mental health, because you can't spell mental health without the words men heal. As men, we need those mentors. Why? Because the scripture says, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. They show us how to bounce back from a setback. They show us how to bounce back to our highest self. Bouncing back to our highest self, even in low moments. It's great to have comrades. Real good. Great to have comrades. Great to have those who are in your circle. But more so, beyond just comrades and colleagues, it's important to have brothers. Why? Because brothers give you real constructive criticism in love. Brothers give you constructive criticism in love. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Some of us don't have brothers. Some of them are just others. Some of us who we thought we had friends were really frenemies, enemies disguised as friends. The highest form of maturity and masculinity is through the intersection of accountability with changed behavior. Easy to live your life as a grown boy. Easy to do. Comes natural to you. Comes natural to us. The most challenging thing to do is to mature. I need you to hear me on this. When the kid in us makes a decision to grow up, the king will show up. Family, type grow. Type grow. It's about maturity. When the kid in us decides to grow up, the king will show up. It shows up. The king shows up when we move into a place of accountability. The king shows up when we move into a place of respectability and responsibility. The king shows up when we embrace maturity through our masculinity. The king shows up when, here it is, we move into a place of not being intimidated by accountability partners, of people who hold us accountable to what it is that we said we're going to do. That's how the king shows up. Come on, family. Type king. type king. Drop a crown in the chat for the kings. Drop some crowns for the kings. Why? Because a king is one who is keenly intelligent, noble gentleman. A keenly intelligent, noble gentleman. A king is akin to that kind of character. Ooh, I like that. Let me say that twice because it's so nice. A king is akin to that kind of character. I like that. Let me move on. Number 4. If you missed the first 2, go back, check out part 1. If you missed part 1. If you missed part 1 of Tales of the Toxic Male, you owe it to you to go back and watch it. Talk about the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles. I said, number 1, he shuns vulnerability because of his fragility. Number 2, intimacy is only sexual, not intellectual. Thirdly, as I just said, the kid trapped in the king. Family, I love this channel. Why? Because it's not my channel, it's our channel. Family, type ours. It's ours. That's why I'm willing to go hours and hours with you. That's why I have hours and hours and hours and hours worth of content. We have hours and hours and hours worth of content here on this channel for change. A channel that creates change. A channel that breaks chains. Family, I need your thumbs up this live. It's all the way live. We're changing lives. We're transforming lives. Hit the thumbs up button on this live. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. Speaking of this channel, I love all the members who are in our chat. I love seeing you all there with your different badges, your colorful badges. If you don't have a membership, you don't have a badge, go get one right now. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description of this video. Conversations like this one, conversations like this right here is why you need to join the channel, why you need to get a membership badge. Once you join our channel as a YouTube member right now, we got 3 tiers. Cheers for 3 tiers. VIP, royalty, OQP. You're a very important person with a very important purpose. Royalty. Your royalty demands loyalty. You're royal as a king. You're royal as a queen. OQP. Only quality people. You up with OQP? Yeah, you know me. Show me that you are. Join our glowing and growing community of quality people. Tap the join button. Link is in the description. Link is in the chat. Gotta say as well, the Mask of Masculinity book. Go and get that. Much of this conversation comes from that. Description's in the video. Go and get that. It's on Amazon, EddieConnor.com, as well to get signed copies. Number 4, signs, symptoms, struggles of the toxic male. He's struggling spiritually. He's struggling spiritually. You are more than your body. You are more than your money. You are more than your mentality. You are more than what we see externally. You have been fashioned spiritually. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Here's the thing. When God created Adam, matter of fact, let me back up. When God created the world, he spoke it into existence. Let there be light. And there was light. When God created the trees and the seas and the fish and the herd and the cattle, he spoke it into existence. But when he created man, this is what he did. He dipped his hands into the clay of the ground, the dust of the earth, and he created him from the dust of the ground. And here's the thing, he did not speak man into existence. He fashioned and created man into existence. He did not breathe his spirit into an animal. He breathed his spirit not into trees and seas and the clouds and the cattle in the herd. He breathed his spirit into man, and he became a living soul. Hear me. You cannot avoid what God breathed into. You can't avoid the spirit that God breathed into you. Just can't do it. Why? Because you will always feel a void. You'll always be trying to fill a hole, and you'll never feel whole. Simply because you want a woman to do what only God can do. You want a person to do what only God can do. You want things and trinkets and addictions to fulfill what only God can feel and refill and fulfill. They that hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. God didn't breathe money into your spirit. God didn't breathe money into you. God didn't breathe a woman into you. God breathed his spirit into you. And we will never truly know how to lead until we are led by God. You can't truly lead her if you're not a leader. I got to tap into my spirit. I got to tap into who I am spiritually. If you're not anchored, you will always be swayed. If you're not anchored spiritually, you'll never be anchored emotionally. If you're not anchored spiritually, you'll never be anchored to have emotional intelligence. If you're not anchored spiritually, you're like a ship without a sail, tossed to and fro by the winds and every wind of doctrine. If you're not anchored, you'll always be swayed. Here's what Scripture says. A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. What does that mean? He's an indecisive man. He can't make a decision. An indecisive man can't be trusted. Indecisive man throws a stone and hides his hand. Indecisive man doesn't even trust himself. He says one thing and he does another. He says he'll be there and he won't show up. Indecision is a decision. If you don't know what you want, somebody's going to decide what you get. But generally it's going to be what you don't want. But how do you know what you don't want if you don't know what you do want? Are you confused yet? So is the man who don't know what he wants. He's confused. And confusion is the work of the enemy. We will always lack direction if we are void of spiritual connection. Spiritual connection comes with spiritual instruction. Turn on your high beams. Raise your antennas. Move back into a place of direction and discernment. Hear me. In your relationship with Christ is where you receive downloadable direction. You receive downloadable direction from heaven on how to lead, on how to love, on how to lift the lives of those who are entrusted to you. Come on, family, type direction. Type direction. I got to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. Too many of us are able to be moved. And you got to get to a place in your life to say, listen, I shall not be moved by your emotions. I shall not be moved by your manipulation. I shall not be moved by your gaslighting and by your narcissism. I shall not be moved by your ego. I want you to hear me. I want you to feel me. I ain't finna be moved. That's what you got to be. That's the type of man you got to be. But if not, you reflect the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles of everybody else. You reflect their toxicity because you're a thermometer and you're not a thermostat. You reflect and you don't set. Stop reflecting and start setting. Need a reset in your life. Got to remain anchored. You got to remain rooted. You have to remain grounded in God. That spiritual connection's got to be fostered through taking your time to read his word. Beyond flipping on your phone, open up that Bible app. Beyond scrolling on social media and seeing what everybody else is doing, taking the time to mute the noise around you so that you can hear the voice within you. God's voice speak to you. It's going to show you things to come. It's going to give you divine direction. It's going to speak to you about you. Prayer, meditation, worship, praise. Taking the time to not just bring your laundry list of requests to God, but listen to what he wants to say to you. Getting quiet enough to hear him speak to you. Not hollering at you. He's speaking to you quietly, in the stillness, in the silence, in the serenity. For many of us, silence can be so loud. One of the things that pains most people is having to think. But what God's Spirit does is his Spirit speaks to your spirit. And your spirit speaks to your mind. And he puts you in divine alignment with your divine assignment. You're not a natural being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being living this natural experience. Shout out to Donald Lawrence. He said, let me be spiritual. I know how to be physical. I know how to be emotional. I know how to be relational. But can you be spiritual? Family, we're having a special conversation. Special spiritual conversation. Oh, this is a spiritual conversation, all right. Got a special message for you. In the midst of this special message, I want you to stick and stay. More breakthrough is coming your way on the other side of this break. After these messages, I will be right back. Are you an author or aspiring author interested in building your book? Do you want to develop as a speaker and communicator? Listen, check out my array of solutions and systems like my bestseller book blueprint and successful speaker strategies. Explore my tailor-made programs designed to nurture your purpose and grow your greatness. In order to increase your ideas, your impact, and your influence, visit us today at theeaglesacademy.com/store so you can soar. Yes, y'all, and you don't stop. Make sure that you heed to these resources that you've heard. Let's get back to the word. Talking about Tales of the Toxic Male, Part 2. Making it do what it do. Talking about the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles. Family, if you're not a part of our Eagles community, go ahead. Join now. TheEaglesAcademy.com. Take a flight into your future by soaring into greater success and purpose. Spread your wings to win with us. It's my private group coaching, teaching, and training, mastermind sessions, sharpening your mindset, your skill set, your tool set to be an asset in any environment. Strategy, structures, solutions, and systems to take your vision to another dimension. Go right now. Be a part of it. In our Zoom room, theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the join now button, fill out the form, be transformed. If you don't have my book, The Mask of Masculinity, link is in the bio. Link is in the description of this video, rather. Yeah, Mask of Masculinity, how men can reclaim their identity, lead in love of vulnerability. Go get my book. It's on EddieConnorJr. You can get signed copies there from me to you. Amazon as well. We've been talking about some key components, some signs, some symptoms, and some struggles. Yeah, sometimes the S on our chest as men does not necessarily mean that we're Superman, doesn't mean that we're strong. Sometimes it means that we're silent, it means we're sensitive, it means we're struggling, it means that we got some symptoms and some signs that we need to deal with so that we're not suffering in silence. I told you, number one, a toxic male shuns vulnerability because of his fragility. Number two, intimacy is only sexual, not intellectual. Those are the two that I covered in part one. If you didn't see part one, go ahead and check that out. Tells the toxic male, part one. The kid trapped in the king. It's another one that I mentioned. Number four, before we went to break. Yeah, number four, before we went to break. Struggling spiritually. Number five, only a male and not a man. Only a male and not a man, tells a toxic male. Family, thumbs up this live. We're changing lives. A male is someone who operates in their gender, but a man is someone who operates in their God-given gift through respect and responsibility. Why? Because there is no respectability without responsibility. And as I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again, man means to manage, man means to maintain, man means to manifest your destiny by using God's manual simply because you have a mandate. And when you realize, and when you have accepted the call on your life to accept the mandate on your life, you're not manipulated. You're not. You move into the aspect of being a man and not just a male. Because hear me, beyond what you possess below the waist is not as important as what you possess above the neck. It says size matters. Yeah, the size of your heart and your mind. The size of your character. The size of your commitment. The size of your love. The size of your spiritual walk. The size of how it is that you relate to God. More than your body, true manhood and masculinity is about the essence of responsibility. And as men, we often find it hard to express the love that we are void of within. Because here's the question. How can you be what you didn't see? How can you become a man if you didn't see one, much less interact with one? Hard to play a role if you weren't given a script. And as a result, what we do is we operate out of frustration rather than transformation. I need you to hear me. We operate out of frustration, not transformation. We operate out of frustration because we're void of the proper representation in our lives. We didn't see the real depiction of real manhood and masculinity. We didn't see the real depiction of a representation of a restored man. We saw Superman, but hear me, a restored man is more important than being Superman. We saw toxicity in the community. We saw toxicity in the media. We saw toxicity in the movies. We heard toxicity in the music. Maybe we saw toxicity with the abuse and the domestic violence. Maybe we were victims of that. Verbal, mental, physical abuse. And now here it is. Sometimes we have internalized the fact that if that's what being a man is all about, I don't want nothing to do with it. If man means toxicity, I'd rather not be one. It's what many of us have internalized. So here it is. We'd rather stay being the grown, hurting boy than even see what it is to be an evolved man, because anything that we saw that had man connected to it was a manifestation of that which was toxic. It was a toxic display of humanity. And now that toxicity beclouds your identity. Family, what is a man all about to you? Come on, I just want you to just talk to me in the chat. What is a man all about to you? Come on, put some adjectives. Put some word association aspects to that. What is a man all about to you? Because here's the thing, no one has ever really been able to express to me what being a man is all about. What should I become? What should a woman look for? And here's the thing. I've always heard that a real man takes care of his family. A real man protects. A real man provides. Yes, that's all well and good. But if everyone is saying the same thing, then why are our brothers caught in the same thing or doing the opposite of what it is that they're saying? Think about that for a minute. But I think I finally found the answer. I really do. Took a deep dive, study, contemplation, pondering, processing, in order to position to find the answer. And I think I finally found the meaning of manhood. I had to make the practical, I had to take the practical and marry it to the spiritual. I looked in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11. And it is the Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul said, when I was a child, I spake as a child, understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. I want you to notice something about this particular chapter. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is known as the love chapter. I want you to notice this particular verse, verse 11, I was a child, spake as a child, understood as a child, thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Notice this verse is in the love chapter. It's the chapter that reminds us love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't envy. Love doesn't keep a record of wrongs. It goes on and on and on and on and on, listing the attributes, the qualities, and the characteristics of love. Here's a question to you. Can you substitute your name for the word love? What do I mean? Can you put your name in place of love? Pookie is patient. Ray Ray is kind. Shantae is patient. Shirley is kind. Hello? No umbrage to your name. Just using you as an example. Can you substitute your name for the word love? Secondly, can you substitute, my brother, I need you to hear me. Can you substitute your woman's name for the word love? My dear sister from another mister, can you substitute that man's name for the word love? Because here's the thing, just because somebody tells you that they love you does not mean that they are an example of love. Because love is not a noun, love is a verb. Love denotes action. Don't use it for a description if you're not putting the word in action. Because here's the thing, it's literally sweet nothings, aka bitter nothings. It amounted to nothing. Words fall on deaf ears when actions are seen with wide eyes. Can you substitute your name for the word love? Can you substitute your love interest's name for the word love? If not, then either you're not the one, he's not the one, she's not the one, or there is some growth that needs to take place. Thirdly, I want you to notice this. Yeah. Notice the ending of the chapter. Come on, my Bible scholars. Notice the ending of the chapter. Paul expresses this, that the prerequisite for a man to love, family, type love, come on, type love. Some of us have been so void of love that we just rather be liked. We'll trade likes instead of love. We'll take likes over love. We'll rather tattoo the word love on our body because we know we can't get that from anybody. Yeah. Rather tattoo love on me because I can't get you to show it to me. Paul expresses the prerequisite for a man to love is he must first change what he's thinking, what he's saying, and what he's willing to sacrifice and what he's willing to give up. Essentially, his masculinity is connected to his emotional maturity. It's not by a coincidence that this scripture, when I was a child, I spake as a child, is in the same text, same chapter as love is patient, love is kind. Why? Because love requires vulnerability. But vulnerability is rooted in maturity. You can't have real masculinity without maturity and vulnerability. And here's the thing, undoubtedly, that's the essence of what real manhood is about. Real manhood is not about the money. It's not about the cars. I want the money, money and the cars, cars and the clothes. I suppose we've denoted that to being successful. But what is it about being significant? It's not about the money, the cars and the clothes and the women and the notoriety and the fame, because all of that is a mask for real masculinity. True manhood is about maturity and personal identity. When I'm reading this particular text in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, yes, around that 11th verse, but even the top of it, to a certain degree, when I initially read it, it just felt as if Paul's ending proclamation doesn't fit into the narrative about love. It's almost as if Paul just threw this statement about being a man into the passage. Paul, where did this come from? I don't see you preempting me at all. However, here it is. Paul's message is no mistake, because love and masculinity is not in dichotomy. Rather, it's in true unity. It's in synergy. It's synergistic. To a certain degree, it's even simplistic. We know what we want to gain as men. We know that. But I need you to hear me. What are you willing to give up to get it? As a man, I know what you want to get. I know what you want to gain. But what are you willing to give up to get and to gain what it is that you desire to receive? Are you willing to submit? Are you willing to submit to God and sacrifice your desires in exchange for his power? Because God is not some genie to where, yes, he gives me the desires of my heart, something as if God is just your genie. You rub the Bible 3 times and he gives you 3 wishes. No, God doesn't just give you what you want. God gives you what to want. I don't want to want what God doesn't want for me. I don't want to want a woman that he don't want me to have. I don't want a car that he doesn't want me to drive in. I don't want to want something that he doesn't desire for my life. I want to want what God wants for me. Are you hearing me? And here it is. My desires now match God's desires for my life. Why? Because I've surrendered to him. I've surrendered my ways and my will. I've surrendered my purpose. I've surrendered my desires and my appetite, my affections. I've surrendered to him so that I can now be vulnerable with him. Are you hearing me? So that he can, as David said, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew the right spirit within me. I need you to take the toxicity out. I need you to deal with the signs. I need you to deal with the symptoms. I need you to deal with the struggles of what it is that has made my masculinity exposed to toxicity. Love and masculinity is not in dichotomy. Love and masculinity is in unity. We know what we want to get and gain as men, but what are we willing to give up to get it? What are you willing to give up to get it? Are you willing to submit to God? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to surrender? Because it goes beyond your way or the highway. Are you willing to live according to his way? Why? Because his ways are not your ways. His thoughts are not your thoughts. As high as the heavens are above the earth, so are his thoughts higher than yours. Family, just type this. Type, put it away. Put it away. Time out for just being the male. Time in for being the man. The man surrenders to God's plan. The true mark of masculinity and manhood is maturity. What are you willing to put away? How are you willing to love and be vulnerable? One attribute that we rarely ascribe to ourselves as men. We ascribe money. We ascribe muscles. We ascribe women. We ascribe cars. We ascribe clothes. We ascribe clout. We ascribe fame. We ascribe being the man that women want to be with and being the man that men want to be like. But one attribute that we rarely ascribe to ourselves as men is love. As men, we must love ourselves. We must know our worth. Yes, it's not just for women. It's for us as men too. Got to love ourselves. We got to know our worth. And here it is. When we realize our value, we will make better choices. We will make healthier choices and healthier decisions. Loving ourselves frees us from emotional toxicity. Are you hearing me? Loving ourselves frees us from psychological pain. Loving yourself frees you from intergenerational trauma that oftentimes we have experienced, we have not unpacked, we have not addressed, but it has compressed us. And hear me, as tough and as hard as it may be, with making mistakes, with messing up, we simply can't give up. My brother, I want to issue you a challenge. I want to issue you a challenge. Come on, family, type accept the challenge. My dear brother from another mother, my comrade at arms, iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. I even want to salute you for even entertaining this conversation, because this conversation is a portal for transformation. I want to talk to you, my king. Yeah, kings. I want to talk to you, brother king. Keenly intelligent, noble gentleman. You're our king in the community. You're our king in the home. You're our king in the family. You're our king in society. We crown you with love, with joy, with peace. Come on, crown yourself, bruh. Crown yourself with joy. Crown yourself with peace. Crown yourself with patience. Crown yourself. Remember playing checkers. A lot of people say play. I don't play checkers, I play chess. But yeah, checkers, I play that too. When you'd make a particular move on the checkerboard, maybe you would double jump. Maybe you would triple jump, however you were playing. Maybe you would jump somebody's man or somebody's checker piece to now move where that place of that last part closest to the board was, so that you could be kinged. And you would say, king me. Some of us have been jumping over what it is that we need to address, and we're still hollering, king me. But we have not dealt with the enemies and the opponents in our lives that really create an assault on the king internally. And I want to issue you a challenge. I want to challenge you to keep making changes. I want to challenge you, my dear brother from another mother. I want to challenge you, king, to make the right choices for the betterment of your future. Because here's the thing, certain habits are not just going to leave simply because you hit a certain age. Certain habits are not just going to leave simply because you got a beard hanging from your chin, or because you got your pockets on swole. Yeah, because you got a little bread in your pocket, got a little money, because you G'd up from the feet up. Certain habits are not just going to leave us as men. What do we have to do? We have to diligently put it away. We got to let it go to grow. I know it may hurt to give it up, but here's what you're going to see. You're going to see healing if you're courageous enough to let go of what is hurting you. You got to release that stinking thinking. You got to release the stinking thinking that keeps you sulking and sinking. You got to release the toxic way of living. Are you willing Come on, accepting the challenge. Are you willing to put away the bad attitude? Are you willing to put away the toxic behavior? Are you willing to put away the pride and putting the ego aside? Are you willing to put away the addiction and the porn and the past and the blame shifting and the drugs and the excuses and the procrastinating and the myriad of excuses that you continue to make, but you don't execute? What is your vision for your future? Come on. I want you to hone in with me. I want you to put the blinders on with me. Forget about everything that's around you. Forget about everything that's around you. Just because people are around you doesn't mean that they're with you. Can't call your circle a circle if you don't have people supporting you. You don't have a circle, you have a cage. I need you to flip the chapter. I need you to write a new page. Give God the pen to let him write a new chapter in your life. What is your vision for the future? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? What is the blueprint of what it is that you're going to build now? What is your plan as a man? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to put away? Hear me, it's your time to get out of your own way. You're not waiting on God, he's waiting on you. Yes, you know what you want. You know what you want to gain. But what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice to get there? It's about your sacrifice. It's about your surrender to God's process. Somebody's waiting for you to be who you are so they can become who they're supposed to be. You're not a toxic male. You're a balanced, healed, and transformed man. Come on, family, type balance. Type balanced, healed, transformed. Hear me. You will only be balanced, you will only be transformed, and you will only be healed when you yield. Did you hear me? You'll only be balanced, you'll only be transformed, you'll only be healed when you yield. Yield is a place of sacrifice and surrender. And I want to speak over somebody's life right now. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. 0 to 100 real quick. I want to speak over your life right now. You are getting ready to produce the biggest yield. You are getting ready to produce the greatest yield when you yield. What is my yield that I'm producing? It's my result. It's my harvest. It's my manifestation. It's my provision for the vision. Come on, family, type provision. Your provider, your protector, your planner, you're the priest of your home. Not toxic male. You're balanced, transformed, and healed man who yields to God's plan. Come on, family, type surrender. Type surrender. Not my will, but thy will be done. Surrendering to him. Why? Because I'm getting ready to produce the greatest yield. This is my harvest time. Come on, family. Type harvest time. It's my harvest time. They that sow in tears will reap in joy. Seed time and harvest. I've sown. I've cried. I've prayed. I've fasted. I've sacrificed. I've suffered. I've surrendered. It's my harvest time. It's your harvest time, my brother. It's your harvest time, my sister. It's your harvest time, king. It's your harvest time, queen. Seed time and harvest. I want you to sow into your harvest right now. I want you to sow into your harvest. I want you to sow out. Yeah. Sow out of what you have and into this good ground right now. The signs, the symptoms, and the struggles will not be the lot of your life. Recognize the signs. The signs are saying that you're delivered. The signs are saying that you're healed. The symptoms of what it is that you've been dealing with, internally, externally, in your heart and in your head, in your soul, in your body, in your spirit, in your emotions, being dissolved. The struggle is over for you. You've been in this place long enough. Mountainside has been rough, but the struggle is over for you. Family, I want you to sow into your harvest. I want you to name your seed as you're sowing your seed. Sow where you grow, sow where you soar. It's not as a debt that you owe, it is as a seed that you sow. Once you sow via electronic payment, $access identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr at Gmail. It's been a super conversation. Sow a super chat. Sow a super sticker. Super chat, super sticker. Sow it. Stars, yes. Facebook as well. You can sow through stars. Yeah, we're simulcasting, family. Simulcasting, yep. Sow via stars, sow via super chat, sow via super sticker. $access identity, PayPal, Cash App, $access identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr, Gmail. The links are in the chat. The links are in the video description. It's not as a debt that you owe, it is a seed that you sow. I'm believing and I'm joining my faith to yours that God does 30, 60, 100-fold in your life. Sowing into good ground, exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask or think. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. That's what it's going to be in your life. Overflow. Come on, family, type overflow. Overflow. Maybe you're naming your seed transformation. Maybe you're naming your seed balance. Maybe you're naming your seed healing. Maybe you're naming your seed overflow. Maybe you're naming your seed harvest. Whatever you believe in God for, expect that and more. He's going to do it as you sow it. Family, thumbs up this live as we've been changing lives, as we've been transforming lives. Hard truth alerts, hard conversations, but nothing changes if nothing changes. God is healing the toxicity within oftentimes our masculinity. Our identity is coming out, it's coming alive. It's breaking through. God's doing what he's going to do in me and in you. If you're not a member of our Eagles community, family, join us. We go further and farther than where we do and what we do here. Isn't just a community, as a launching pad. Come on, come on, come on. You've been watching long enough. Join us soon enough. Right now. Come on, my brother. Join us. My dear sister from another mister. Come on. Come into the Eagles community. Let us wrap our wings around you as you soar with us to a greater dimension, greater manifestation, soaring into greater success and purpose in your relationships, in your business, in your mindset, in your skill set, in your tool set, building your tool set, being an asset in any environment, healing your heart set and your soul set. On your mark, get set. Let's go. Strategy, structure, solutions, and systems to take your vision to another dimension. What I love about my acronym EAGLES, it stands for Empowered, Authentically Gifted Leaders Envisioning Success. He's renewing your strength like the eagles to mount up on wings as an eagle. Join us, theeaglesacademy.com. Go there now. If you're not a member of our YouTube channel, pick up one of these tiers, VIP, Royalty, OQP. Get the behind-the-scenes content, insight and information that I don't necessarily deliver here, but I do it there. Join me there. Members-only discounts. Membership has its privileges. Join the glowing, growing community of quality people because you're a quality person. If you don't have my book, The Mask of Masculinity, go get it. Link is in the description. It went #1 on Amazon for a reason. You can get it there, but you can also get signed copies at EddieConnor.com. How Men Can Reclaim Their Identity, Lead in Love with Vulnerability. Dealing with the fears, the father wounds, the frailties, and the frustrations of what it is that we deal with as men. A book for all the brothers and the women and the queens who love us. Want to know how to create a safe space and place for a man to be vulnerable? It's in the book. Go get it. Gift the book to somebody. Gift the book to somebodies. There's some kings in your life. There's some queens in your life. There's some brothers. There's some sisters. Come on, bless them with the book. Readers are leaders. Family, I hope you've been empowered by this conversation. Have you been? Did this empower somebody? Let me know. Let me know in the chat for sure. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. Family, In the Mix is out of time. But trust me, I am not out of truth. And so, as I always do, as is my custom, I want to thank you. Really do. For rocking with me, for riding with me, for rolling with me. Why? Because that's just how we roll. And we do that each and every single weekday. You know who it is. You know where it is. Right here on the YouTube channel. While you're here on the YouTube side, hit subscribe. Come on. Hit subscribe. I don't want you to be a ghost follower. Hit the subscribe button. I'm growing your greatness. Help me to grow my channel. And matter of fact, it's not just my channel. It's our channel. Ours. That's why we go hours and hours breaking down, dissecting. Making it plain. Rightly dividing things with truth. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We don't stop. At EddieConnorJr. Come on, put some respect on my name, family. EddieConnorJr. Y'all keep showing love. I'm going to keep showing up. If I can help you, if I can serve you in any way, please reach out to me. If you're looking for a dynamic speaker, look no further. I'm the man for the job. Invite me to speak at your men's conference, your conference in general, your church, your community center, your school, your graduation, your session. Invite me in and let's make some progression. You say, well, how do I do that? Go simply right now. Email me, info@eddieconnor.com. I would be honored to be there. Yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother. And I mean that. From another mother. Family has been fun. But you know, a brother gotta run. But I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure. A treat and a treasure. A joy beyond measure. But I want you, yes you, to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter, peace, and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring higher. Let's soar beyond my YouTube channel. If you want something that goes beyond here, you're in for a treat. I have a private mentorship group where I coach, where I teach, and I provide live Q&A insight in our interactive breakout sessions. It's where I challenge you with innovative exercises to develop your skill set. And I provide feedback to foster your growth. We break it all down to build you up in our private Zoom room as we focus on transformative topics with accountability partners who really desire to grow their greatness by soaring into success and greater purpose. Come on, soar to new heights with us in our Eagles Academy. Get your wings to win. And let's soar into more at the Eagles Academy.